Welcome, everyone. I am so glad that you're here. Just getting all of my um, slides ready here to share. So glad that you joined me today for this Break Free from Negative Thoughts workshop. So let me go ahead and share my screen here. And we can get started. So go ahead and put in the chat. Let me know where you're joining me from. It's always nice to know who um, is joining me here on these workshops. So I'm glad you joined me today for this important workshop. And I want to remind you that this is a safe and supportive space so you can dive into the power of rewiring your mindset. Because for years, I struggled with negative thought patterns and I constantly felt like I wasn't enough. And it wasn't until I learned how to reframe those thoughts using the tools I'll share today. And once I started using these tools, I was able to experience lasting change. Awesome. So Marcia has joined us. So hi, Marcia. Thanks for joining today. So moving on to our objectives for this session. So what I want to do today is, sorry, I'm moving my slides over because it blocked my whole screen here. What we're going to cover in this is how to shift negative thought patterns and break free from limiting beliefs using NLP or Neuro Linguistic Programming. Now, NLP is a powerful technique and it allows us to change the way we perceive and interpret our experiences. So it helps us create new and empowering mental patterns. So by the end of today's session, you'll have practical tools that are going to help you rewire your mindset. And it's going to help you begin shifting the way you view yourself and your potential immediately. Okay. So my goal for you here is to leave here feeling empowered and equipped with new strategies um, that are going to help you. Letting a few more people come in. So, hello, Dolores. Thanks for joining. I want to give you new strategies to reframe your thinking because it's not about forcing positive thoughts. It's about creating real, lasting shifts in how we see and respond to challenges. So, how we're going to workshop today is this is a workshop. It's not a webinar. So, I'm not just going to talk your ears off. We're actually going to be working today. We're going to be actually doing things today together. So I would love if you would turn on your camera and your microphone so we can participate together. Feel free to type any of your questions in the chat box. And also, if you would like to, you can raise your hand and just let me know that you would like to work with me, and I'll pull you up on stage. So if you're not comfortable with being on stage, that's fine too. You can just put your questions in the chat box. So just to share my personal story, not too long ago, I was living what seemed like a dream life. I owned a successful fitness business. I had co authored a best selling book, and I was celebrating 21 years of marriage. I have 4 wonderful daughters, you can see here in this picture. My business was thriving. I felt invincible, but then 2016 came, and it was a year that changed everything. And I made the difficult decision to close my fitness business to care for my mother. It was the right thing to do, but it left me feeling kind of adrift, lost. I didn't know who I was anymore. The identity I had built as a successful entrepreneur suddenly vanished, and I found myself struggling to find my footing. And I tried to pivot. I explored various online businesses, but success just didn't come. And with each unsuccessful attempt, my confidence was affected. And I began to question my abilities. Like, can I even do this? And then it started to affect my self-worth. So as I was grappling with this, professional upheaval, my personal life also took a devastating turn. And in 2019, I discovered my husband's infidelity. And within a year, my 21-year marriage ended in divorce. So there I was newly single, financially strained. I was still responsible for two of my daughters at home. And it felt like my world had been turned upside down. So I was lost. I was questioning who I was and what purpose I now served. And it was really a dark time for me. And it was filled with a lot of self doubt and uncertainty. But sometimes hope comes from unexpected places. The Lord works in mysterious ways, right? And one day, a friend that I hadn't seen in years sent me a message, and she wasn't even aware of all the struggles I was going through. And she shared how I had always been an inspiration to her. And her words just sparked something within me. It was this reminder of the passion I had for coaching and empowering women. So that moment became a turning point. And I realized that despite my challenges, I still had something valuable to offer. And so I channeled my experiences and my passion into becoming a master mental health and life coach, specifically for Christian women. And this journey of rediscovery, it led me to develop the RISE method, which I'll share with you today. So I'm sharing this because I understand the disorientation that comes when life turns us, into a different direction than we just knocks us off course, right? We just didn't expect this to happen. And I felt the sting of lost identity and fear of the future. And I've experienced the joy that comes from rediscovery and the power of renewed purpose. And I believe that every woman, regardless of her circumstances, deserves to live a life that's fulfilling and purpose driven. And it's never too late to uncover your passions and pursue your purpose. And my story is proof that even in our darkest moments, there's hope for a brighter future. And so I want to share just a few testimonials from some of the ladies that I have worked with. So I have had the pleasure of working with Marcia, who is on our call today, and even with Dolores as well. So it has been wonderful to work with you ladies, and so excited to see, where God's going to take you from here. So thanks for joining me today, for sure. So first, I want to start with a question. What belief has held you back the most, and how has it impacted your life? So think about that for just a moment. And then, if you feel comfortable, go ahead and put your answer in the chat box there. Okay, so Dolores shared. Thank you, Dolores. She says that I'm not good enough. Yeah, I had that exact same limiting belief as well. Yes. So hold on to that thought of that belief that you just put in there or just thought of, because we're going to use this as we go through this workshop. Okay. All right. So the problem with um, the problem most women face is that they want to only think positive thoughts, and that's great, but most of us are doing it wrong. Okay, so most women are trying to rely on their willpower or force positivity, right? But that can leave you feeling frustrated. Some are trying to replace negative thoughts with a positive one, but this can get exhausting. And then believing that thinking positivity means just avoiding these negative emotions, but that leads to emotional suppression. So how many of you have, like, you just keep everything locked up inside, and then all of a sudden one little thing makes you explode? How many of you have done that? I've been guilty of that for
Mm,
sure. So
definitely.
yeah. And then these are the things that I tried and failed at. I tried affirmations without fully believing them, just thinking that if I keep saying these, I'm eventually going to believe it. Distracting or avoiding negative thoughts. So I'm just going to avoid them. Toxic positivity. This is that just think positive thoughts kind of thing that can become very toxic. And then me, number one thing that I am amazing at is overanalyzing ruminating over past events, reliving them over and over and over again. And every time they get more dramatic. Such a victim, it's this overanalyzing thing. So I can get a gold medal for that if there was an Olympics for it. So what I discovered is that trying to force positivity or avoid negative thoughts only makes them stronger. Also, true change came when I learned to acknowledge those thoughts without judgment. And I used techniques like reframing and visualization, which shifted my perspective. And then it wasn't about fighting my thoughts, it was about working with them. So this would create new, empowering patterns. Okay. So that's when I discovered and created the RISE method. So the RISE method is rooted in faith, it's integrated with science, and it's empowered by mindset. And so since creating the RISE method, I've been able to break free from overthinking, overcome the fear of failure, shift from self doubt to self belief, and move past emotional triggers, stop feeling like positivity is forced, and reframe my challenges as opportunities. How does that sound?
Good.
Awesome. Okay.
Awesome.
Awesome. Okay. So, my goal today is to help you take a meaningful step towards rewiring your mindset. So, we're going to learn how to reframe one negative thought, that one limiting belief that you just thought of at the beginning, and also to create a positive mental anchor that you can use anytime you feel stuck. Okay. So, who's excited for that? Awesome. Awesome. Okay. So, first, I want you to understand mindset and limiting beliefs. So, let's start by talking about mindset. So, your mindset is the collection of beliefs and thoughts that shape how you see yourself and how you see the world around you. So, it's the powerful driver behind your actions, your emotions, and your decisions. And so, there is what you would call a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. So, a fixed mindset is it believes that our abilities, our intelligence, and our talents are static and they're unchangeable. And then a growth mindset, on the other hand, it believes that we can develop and improve through effort, learning, and resilience. And then let's talk about limiting beliefs. So, limiting beliefs are those subconscious thoughts that hold us back. They're often deeply ingrained, telling us things like, I'm not good enough, like Dolores shared, I'll never succeed, or it's too late for me. These beliefs, they influence our behavior and they keep us stuck in old patterns. So, some common examples are I'm not smart enough to pursue my dreams, or I'll always fail when I try something new. And these thoughts create these invisible barriers that limit what we believe is possible for us. So, this is a little diagram that I've used before, and I know Marcia has seen it in the other program that I did recently. And so your thoughts create your feelings, which then create the actions that you take and then give you the results. The one thing that changes this whole thing is the questions that you ask yourself. So this is going to become important down the road when we get to reframing. So the questions that you ask yourself are super important because those drive your thoughts, which then again, you go down this pattern, your feelings, your actions, and your results. So um, I would like you to revisit this question now based on what we just talked about fixed and growth mindsets. And so I want you to reflect on a personal limiting belief that you'd like to shift. Okay, so really think about this for a moment. So think about which limiting belief you would like to shift that has been impacting your life. Okay. So this belief might be something that's held you back for years, or it could be something new that is emerged in a new recent challenge that you're going through. And what matters is that you identify it today and then we can work on reframing it today. Okay. So, if you've identified that limiting belief, I want to dive into how we can start shifting those beliefs using some practical NLP techniques. Okay, so let me know when you guys are ready. Just making sure there isn't anyone else waiting to get in. Okay, no one else is there. Okay. Okay. So let's move on to some NLP basics here. So if NLP is unfamiliar to you, what we're talking about is we talked about limiting beliefs. So NLP is neuro-linguistic programming. So it's a powerful approach and it focuses on how our thoughts, language, and behaviors are connected. So if we understand the connection, we can shift the way that we think and create new mental patterns. Okay, so NLP teaches us to work with our subconscious mind, where many of our limiting beliefs and thoughts are stored. So, whatever may have happened to you in the past as a child, may have happened to you last week or just an hour ago, these can become ingrained in our subconscious mind. And our subconscious mind can't tell the difference between what is real and what is fake. So, if we're constantly talking to ourselves and saying, you know, "Ugh, you're so dumb. Why'd you do that? Your subconscious mind can't tell that whether that's true or not. It's just going to store it. It's just information that it's going to hold on to. So with NLP, neuro linguistic programming, we're working with the subconscious mind to let the mind know, like, tell your brain, it's okay. I'm okay. I'm not really dumb. It's just, I had a senior moment, or that's what I tell myself all the time, just having a senior moment. But um it's very powerful, and there's been a lot of study done on NLP and what it can do. And I know that it works wonderful wonders with the women that I work with, and they are able to have amazing breakthroughs. I know Dolores had an amazing breakthrough using NLP techniques from something that happened to her way in the past. So it's beautiful how our subconscious mind works in these situations. So the first thing I want to talk about is, and let me share my screen again here. I just wanted to pull the screen off for a moment to see you guys um, instead of seeing my screen here. So let me go back to sharing this. Okay, so the first thing that I want to talk about is anchoring. Okay, so anchoring can be very, very powerful. And anchoring is a way that helps you create a mental and emotional trigger by associating a specific positive emotional state with a physical gesture or a sensory cue, like a touch, sound, or an image. And by doing this, you can activate that emotional state whenever you need it. So it's very, very powerful. So, how it works, so think about how certain songs or smells can trigger a memory or an emotional response. You guys can agree with that, right? I hear a song from the 80s and
Mhm.
immediately I'm back in my teenage years again. And I smell a certain like musty smell and I immediately think of my grandma and her house. So they are very powerful. So anchoring works similarly, except that instead of waiting for something external to happen, you create an intentional anchor, and that allows you to access a desired emotional state on demand. So, kind of an explanation of how you would go about it is you would choose an emotional state that you want to access. So maybe it's confidence or calmness or happiness. And when you're fully feeling that emotion, you create a physical gesture as an anchor. And then this can be touching your thumb and your forefinger together. It could be putting your hand on your heart. It could be grabbing your earlobe, touching your wrist, or a knuckle. And each time you perform that gesture in the future, you'll be able to recall and trigger that positive emotional state. So, for example, if you often feel anxious before speaking in public, the number one fear of people is speaking in public, you can create an anchor for confidence. And I know a very uh, famous speaker who, when he's talking on stage, he will touch his earlobe while he's talking because he has a little trigger point there to anchor himself for self confidence. So anytime he starts to feel a little off when he's speaking, he can just touch his earlobe and feel self confidence again. Um, so you visualize a time when you felt powerful and successful, and then maybe after a big win or accomplishment, this would be that feeling that you want to anchor, and then you would press your thumb and forefinger together, and that would overcome your anxiety of speaking. So we're actually going to do this today live together. So this is going to be pretty powerful. The next thing I want to talk about is reframing. So, reframing is the process of changing how you perceive a situation by altering its meaning or its context. So, it's about seeing things from a new perspective, which allows you to transform the way that you feel and how you react to the situation. So, instead of seeing obstacles as challenges, then you can see them as an opportunity for growth or for learning. And our emotions are tied to the stories we tell ourselves. So, reframing helps you challenge those stories and shift how you interpret events. So, if you're an overthinker like I am, reframing can be very powerful for you because now we're reframing the situation and our story that we tell ourselves changes. And the goal isn't to deny or minimize your experience, but just to adjust how you view it in a way that empowers you instead of limiting you. So, a way that you would do this, kind of a step by step explanation, would be you identify a negative thought or a belief that you want to reframe. Uh, this could be something like, I'm not good enough, or I always mess up. And then you ask yourself, what's another way to view the situation? What's the opportunity here? What can I learn from this? And create a new empowering belief that shifts the focus from failure or a limitation to growth and possibility. So let's say, for example, you made a mistake at work and immediately you think, oh, I always mess things up. Well, this negative belief reinforces self doubt and also leads to more stress. So if you reframe that and shift that perspective and instead say to yourself, I made a mistake, but I've learned something that will help me improve next time. By changing how you view the situation, you reduce stress and open yourself up to growth. Okay, so when we reframe, we take control of how we interpret our experiences and we move from a place of powerlessness to a position of growth and learning, which is really important. So this mindset shift, it changes how we feel, but it also influences our future actions and our decisions, just like that chart I showed you. So the question you ask changes your thoughts, changes your feelings, and gives you a different result, right? So this just happened to me 2 nights ago. I was so frustrated from I'm in a musical right now called Scrooge, and during practice we were learning one of the big company numbers, the dance, and I was all left feet. I was getting so frustrated. I could not get this dance down, and I had like, like the first uh 16 moves. She's like, "Okay, do these." And I was like, "Oh, yeah, this is easy." And then she added the next 8, and then I'm like, "Okay, wait, what was the first 8?" And then she added another 8. And then I was like, by the end of that, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I can't do this. I'm struggling and I'm all over the place." And it's of course a partner dance and I'm driving my partner crazy because I can't get it. And I was so frustrated by the time I left that I was backing into the driveway and didn't let the garage door open all the way and backed right into the garage. And so then I'm texting my husband because all the lights were off in the house. So I'm thinking, oh, he must already be asleep. Oh, great. And I text him and he said, oh, I'm awake. And I'm like, the garage is broken. And so he comes down and I'm just like, I'm so sorry. So it's like almost 10 o'clock at night, and the poor guy is putting hinges back on the door. And yeah, it was just, and I was just even more feeling even worse after that. And all that negative thought pattern was going through my head. And thankfully, I've been coaching him, and my daughter. So he was like, you are resilient. You're not a quitter. It was the first time you learned this dance. You can't expect to learn it the first time you run through it. And I'm like, oh, yeah. So that's reframing. Like he reframed the whole situation for me. And then I was able to grasp onto that and think, okay, I'm resilient. I made a mistake. I'm going to learn. I didn't destroy the garage. I didn't destroy the truck. So, but that's reframing right there, taking a situation and looking at it differently. And then the next one I want to talk about is swishing. So this might be something that you've never heard of before. And honestly, I had never heard of it before either until I became an NLP practitioner. So how swishing works. Swishing it's a visualization based NLP technique, and it helps you replace negative or limiting mental images with empowering ones. So how many of you are visual people? I am definitely visual. Yeah, good. So this is a really good technique for visual people. So it takes a negative or limiting mental image and swishes it with an empowering one. So it allows us to disrupt automatic negative thought patterns and create new positive associations in your mind. So often when we think of situations that cause us anxiety, self-doubt, or fear, we create mental images of ourselves failing or feeling stuck. Okay. And these images reinforce the negative feelings. And the swish technique, it helps you visualize success and confidence and positivity instead. So swishing the negative image away and replacing it with something more empowering is how this technique works. So what you would do is you would identify the negative mental image that you want to replace. It could be a picture of yourself feeling anxious, stuck, or failing at something. And then you would create a new mental image that represents success, confidence, or empowerment. This image could show you feeling happy, capable, successful. And then now you imagine taking that negative image in front of you, making it large and vivid. And then in your mind, you quickly swish it away and replace it with the new positive image. And this positive image should be vivid, bright, and emotionally powerful. And so you would repeat this process several times, making this swish quick and decisive until the positive image automatically replaces the negative one in your mind. So an example of this would be, let's say you often find yourself freezing up during an important presentation. Like if I were to freeze during this one and feel all nervous, the swish technique would help you replace that image with one of you speaking confidently and smiling and successfully engaging with the audience. And so every time that negative image comes up, you swish it away and replace it with the confident image. And this retrains your brain to associate the situation with success. So our minds respond powerfully to images, and the swish technique helps break that automatic cycle of negative thinking. And so by repeatedly visualizing yourself succeeding or feeling confident, you condition your brain to respond differently to challenging situations. So these three NLP techniques, anchoring, reframing, and the swish technique, they're tools that can help you rewire your mindset. And they help you break free from negative thought patterns by creating new, empowering beliefs and emotional states. So, by practicing these regularly, you'll begin to notice how much more control you have over your thoughts, feelings, and reactions. And you'll shift from feeling stuck to feeling empowered, confident, and ready to take on new challenges. So, um, I want to take any questions you may have right now. Um, just let me know if anything was confusing or you need a little bit more explanation or any questions that just kind of popped up as I was yakking away. You can either put them in the chat box if you like, or um, you guys both are unmuted, so you can just speak too.
I guess a little bit more on the anchoring.
Okay, we're actually going to do it together.
Okay.
So you will have we'll set an anchor today. That's going to be
Okay.
one of my goals. And yeah, so we're gonna actually do the live demonstration next. And what I'm going to teach is stacking two on top of each other, which makes it even more powerful.
Okay.
Yeah. And I know, Dolores, we did an anchoring technique with you, and you want to share how that has helped you? You don't have to if you don't want to, but
It's helped me to just get out of that mindset and, well, when it hits to, just replace it and let it go, and, that's been really helpful. It's, you know, with making sure that I can, not have the triggers and all that stuff anymore. It's just been, uh, freeing.
yes,
So,
yes. And I love seeing that smile.
yeah.
Yeah, so her trigger was from a sound. And so the anchor was able to help her. So now when she hears that sound, it no longer
Yep.
causes a trigger, a negative trigger for her. So
Mhm.
yeah, so that has been very powerful for her. Okay. All right. Well, you guys ready to create an anchor?
Yes.
All right.
Sure.
Okay. So what I'm going to teach you today, what we're going to go through is a pattern interrupt and a anchor. So I'm going to combine, we're going to stack the two together. So let me share my screen again here. So we're going to do a pattern interrupt and then also an anchor. And so what a pattern interrupt is when you have a habitual negative thought pattern that you've had for years, um, it stops that thought pattern in its tracks. Okay. So the idea behind it is to break the automatic cycle of negative thinking by disrupting it and then anchoring it with a positive emotional state that you can call on whenever you need it. Okay. So, an example would be, let's say you are an emotional eater. And so um, you're bored or you're sad or you're upset about something or you're angry or any of these emotions that may cause you to want to reach for food for comfort. So a pattern break would be you open the refrigerator door and then you do the pattern interrupt. And so that pattern interrupt is going to stop that automatic negative pattern that you've been doing for years that you've ingrained in your brain. Okay. So the pattern interrupt, this is the formula over here on the screen. So it's the, what do you call that? It's not acronym. Well, it's stop. I don't know. Maybe it is acronym. So
Yeah,
it's
it's
okay.
acronym.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So the way that it works is first the S is stop or slap. And what I mean by slap is not to physically slap yourself, but it's like a mental slap, like you're just slapping yourself out of the pattern as soon as you recognize it. And then the T stands for take a breath. So you're going to stop, you're going to take a breath, and then the O stands for the outcome or the opportunity. So at this point, you want to ask yourself a question. You want to say, what am I doing here? Or why are you holding yourself back? Or is this really going to take me closer to my goal? Or will this make me successful today? So those are the kind of questions you want to ask in the outcome part. And then the P is to praise and celebrate yourself for recognizing the negative pattern and stopping the pattern. Okay. So stop. If you can remember the acronym STOP, that's going to help you to do this pattern interrupt. Okay. So we first thing I want to do, we're going to do this right now together. I want you to think about a situation or a thought pattern that's been stressing you out or making you feel stuck. So maybe it's a feeling of self doubt, frustration, or overwhelm. And once you've thought of that situation, I want you to close your eyes and make sure that this moment, this thought pattern is very powerful because I want you to bring that situation clearly in your mind. And I want you to notice how it feels in your body. So, where are you feeling that? Are you feeling it in your shoulders, in your neck? Do you feel it in the pit of your stomach, in your lower back? Just want you to get into that feeling and feel it powerfully. And then I want you to notice what thoughts are coming up. And how does it make you feel emotionally? And now we're going to interrupt that pattern. So on the count of 3, I want you to shake out your hands and I want you to shout the word stop in your mind or out loud if you feel comfortable. The goal is to completely break the cycle of those negative thoughts. Okay, so ready? 1, 2, 3. Shake it out. Say stop.
Stop.
Good, good. So great. By doing this, you've just disrupted that automatic loop that was running through your mind. Awesome. Okay. So we're not going to do the O and the P part of it because now I want to move to the anchor. Okay. So now that we've interrupted that negative pattern, we're going to create the positive anchor. Okay. So something that will allow you to instantly access this positive emotional state whenever you need it. So before we do that, I want you to think of a physical gesture that you're going to use for this. So maybe it's placing your finger and thumb together. Maybe it's putting your hand on your heart. Maybe it's pressing on a knuckle or touching your wrist or touching your earlobe. So think of the physical gesture that you want to use for this anchor. Okay, let me know when you guys have your physical anchor in mind.
I've got it.
Okay. Got it, Marcia?
Yep.
Okay, so close your eyes and practice doing that, whatever it is, okay? So that you know that you can do it with your eyes closed. Okay, good. All right, so now what I want you to do is I want you to think of a time when you truly felt confident, happy, or at peace. It could be something that was recent or even something from years ago. But what's important is that you're able to connect with that feeling right now. And once you have that memory in your mind, I want you to let yourself fully feel that positive emotion. I want you to go back into that moment. You're there right now. What do you see? What do you hear? What are you feeling? Make that feeling as strong as you can. Really get into that moment. And now, as you're feeling that powerful emotion, I want you to do that physical gesture, whatever that was. Keep thinking of that powerful feeling. Fully experience that positive emotion. And this gesture will become your anchor so that every time you repeat it, you'll be able to recall this positive feeling instantly. Now take a deep breath in and release it slowly and open your eyes. Beautiful. Yay, ladies, you just created an anchor and you can use this whenever you need it. Whenever you have a negative thought pattern, you can access this positive emotional state. So with this pattern interrupt, you could do the stop, you can take a breath, and you can do your anchor. Okay, so let's test it out. I want you to think back on that negative thought that we did on the pattern interrupt. And just briefly think about that negative thing and then use your anchor gesture. Okay, were you able to notice how quickly your mind and body shifted back to that positive state?
Yes.
Yes? Okay, good. Awesome. So that's the power of anchoring. Okay. So you can use this whenever a negative pattern starts. You can do this. So it's super powerful. Whenever you feel stuck or you feel overwhelmed by a negative thought, the more you practice it, the more powerful it becomes. So, so definitely use this on a daily basis. And the more that you use it, the stronger it becomes. So, and I know Dolores, you've had wonderful results with it using that anchor.
Yes.
So now this is stacking that pattern interrupt with the anchor. So it's even more powerful. Okay. So
Okay.
I just want to open the floor for any questions or anything. You guys have anything? No? Okay.
Nope, can't think of anything.
Wonderful. Okay. Do you guys see how this can definitely help break through those negative patterns that we constantly have? Yeah.
Yes.
We go back to that original example that I did where overeating may be your thing. You're walking to the fridge or you're walking to the pantry, and then you do that mental slap or that mental stop and take a breath and then use your anchor. And then that will help change that pattern that you have.
Mhm.
So um awesome. Okay, so let me go back to my slides here and just share a little bit here. So this um what we covered today, it's just a small nibble of what I help my clients do on a daily basis. What we covered today was fixed growth mindset and limiting beliefs, anchoring, reframing, the swishing technique, and pattern interrupt plus anchoring. Okay, so these are the NLP tools that we covered today. What we haven't covered is how to integrate your faith into your mindset transformation, how to maintain long term mindset transformation based on personal strategies, and how to align your mindset transformation with your greater life purpose. What are your purpose and passions? What does God have you here for? So we didn't cover that today, but I do want to introduce you to my program, the RISE method. So the RISE method stands for rooted in faith, integrated with science, and empowered by mindset. And all of this is designed to help you live with confidence, purpose, and clarity. And so the first part of this is root. So there's three pillars to this method. And the first method is root, which is based on Ephesians 4:23 and 24, to be made new in the attitude of your minds and to put the new self created to be like God in true righteousness and holiness. So this step centers around reconnecting with your faith, setting intentions, letting go of mental blocks. Then once that happens, we are able to have sustainable growth, and you'll have a strong spiritual and mental base. And so we're going to anchor your identity in Christ, release mental baggage and limiting beliefs, and then set aligned intentions for growth. The second pillar is renew. So at this stage, we are going to cultivate emotional resilience. So based on Isaiah 41:10, so do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. So what we do in this one is develop emotional tools that help you respond to life's challenges without being derailed by triggers or old habits. And so we're going to master emotional triggers. We're going to practice mind and body alignment and create new empowering habits and routines. And the last stage is to rise. And that's your new empowered self. So this is based on 2 Corinthians 5:17. Therefore, if anyone is in Christ, the new creation has come, the old is gone, the new is here. And here's the final step. This is about taking consistent, inspired action and living authentically. And this is where you're going to learn to build purposeful relationships and community and have accountability and reflection on what you're doing. So, so the RISE method, faith plays a key role in grounding your mindset shift. And I know we didn't dive into how to use scripture, prayer, or faith based principles, but this is part of the RISE program. So we root your mindset in faith to provide strength and resilience during your transformation. And so all of this is inside my Midlife Women Warriors Group coaching membership. But this weekend, I am offering everyone who watches, who is here, so Marcia and Dolores. Dolores just finished this actual 5-day challenge with me, but it's free.
Yes.
And it's 5 one-on-one sessions with me. They're 30 to 45 minutes, depending on what we need. And this will help you break through any negativity that is in your life. So it's just like that. Free one-on-one sessions, 5 sessions. The first session, we basically is for clarity so that I can understand fully where you're at and what challenges you may be having in the moment. Sessions 2, 3, and 4, we're actually getting to work and working on things, even working on things that come up while you're in the midst of the 5-day challenge. And then on the 5th day, we are reviewing and recapping, and then I share, if you're interested in moving forward, how you can do that. So basically, to get started, you would just schedule your first call and we would get going from there. Now, the 5 days are not consecutive. So basically, I like to have everyone through the 5-day challenge within a 2-week period. I feel like that's most powerful. If we can do it, a call every other day or something like that, I feel like that is the most helpful because you're seeing me more regularly. But if this is something that you're interested in, I'm going to pop this link in the chat. And if those of you who are watching the replay, I'll put it, you'll have that as well. So let me drop this here. So if you'd like to schedule that, that is open to you. And Dolores, if you'd like to share anything about how that 5-day challenge helped you, if not, that's okay. I don't want to pressure you, but
No, it was, I was having some major triggers, and mine were my neighbor's motorcycle. And I mean, I would go into that fight or flight mode, and it has helped me get to that point where I hear it and it's like, hey, I'm okay. I'm good. It's I'm safe. And it's helped me to let go, and um not be manipulated. And so
yeah, and that's so powerful.
it
Yeah.
is. It's been freeing. And that's been a long time coming. And I've needed that for a long time. And it's just opened up that positivity where I didn't have that before.
Mm,
So
beautiful. Thank you for sharing, Dolores. I
you're
appreciate that.
welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah. Do you guys have any questions for me? Any concerns or anything that you'd like me to cover a little bit more?
Nope.
No? Okay.
I'm
You guys
good.
are easy. Well, I thank you, ladies, so much for sharing some of your time this weekend. And I know Saturdays are busy for a lot of people. We had 16 people registered for this one. So it's a pretty intense thing that people are going through, these negative thought patterns. And
Yep.
so we're very happy that you guys did this. You guys are going to get the replay, so you can watch it again and again if you want to redo the anchoring and the pattern interrupts and things
Okay.
that.
Right.
And so I'll get those out to you guys probably by Monday. I'm probably
Okay.
going to be not on the computer tomorrow.
No.
Sunday. So, but I really appreciate you ladies being with me live. It sure makes it much more fun when there's ladies with me.
Yeah.
So, all right, ladies.
We
well,
are not alone.
yeah.
No.
Yes. You ladies have a
No.
wonderful weekend, and thank you again.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you,
Bye.
Angela.
You're welcome. Bye.
Mhm.
Bye.
Bye.